Hello, it's Philip Taylor speaking from Richmond Green Chambers, and I'm looking this morning at a book which has come my way from Class Legal Publishing. It's this book here. It's 2011 to 12 and it's At a Glance, Essential Court Tables for Ancillary Relief, and it's published by Class Legal and the Family Law Bar Association. I saw this book the other day, actually in court, and I found it really interesting to know that it is used extensively in family law work. This is something I think is very important, and that is right at the beginning it sets out where we're going with this subject and what is happening in its link with the internet. You can, of course, update a lot of information. One thing I've found very helpful are the leading cases, and there's quite a lot covering that. You've also got things like the costs issues under the family procedure rules, and you've got a whole range of other things, a bit of legislation there. And then of course you've got the thing that is very important, apart from the tabbing on the sides, what you do have is very useful statements of things like costs and standard thing, house price indexes. Now obviously from a practitioner's point of view this is very important, and it's not just for lawyers, it's also for all the other people involved in the delicate business of trying to sort out the financial settlements. As I say, this is a relatively new book to me, and it's something I saw yesterday, for instance, in court when I was doing a family matter, and I said, well done, this is exactly the sort of thing that we need, because you're as up to date as you can be, and it helps the judiciary as well. Let me tell you what our heading is for this and what we've actually said about the book on the web and in the journals. Figures at your fingertips for ancillary relief. Acquire the latest edition of this indispensable reference from the Family Law Bar Association and Class Legal. Remember, we're calling it Ancillary Relief for the time being, but that title will be changed to something a little bit more user-friendly, if you like, which is, of course, financial relief. This is what we say, anyway, about this 100-page document. If you're a family law practitioner embroiled in representing, advising, or negotiating on behalf of clients, particularly with respect to children, this latest version of the At a Glance title, currently called Essential Court Tables for Ancillary Relief, is a marvellous time saver, enabling you to effect aforementioned representation and negotiate financial settlements so much more effectively. Here you have literally figures at your fingertips for ancillary relief, complete with accompanying web links, great as a quick reference in our view when you're in court or physically negotiating financial settlements, especially in instances where it does the necessary calculations for you. And in this day and age it's not unusual to see people with computers and iPads and so forth in court. A few years ago that wasn't the case. As the preface notes, ancillary relief law must now be known as financial remedy law. Well, interesting new nomenclature, but as it has not yet been incorporated into the title of this publication, we're not using it either yet. The beauty of the At a Glance series, from what I can see, is that in its current format, is that it's more than just a list of tables. It functions admirably as an aid-memoir for ancillary relief, covering finances. For example, note the extensive section which lists leading cases. I mentioned that, which I thought was very helpful. I'll show you that again, which is there. And it also covers things like extracts from the new family procedure rules and so on. I think it's of great importance to counsel at the coalface in court for sections containing advice on PDs and court bundles and so forth, which again is helpful. The Family Law Bar Association publishes this indispensable reference yearly, keeping family law practitioners freshly up to date, and that's what we want, of course. The editorial committee involved in the compilation of the work includes Sir Peter Singer, Lewis Marks QC, Mr Justice Mostyn and Gavin Smith. So it's an all-round expertise panel, if you like, of people who have assisted. The material comes from a pretty impressive list of contributors, which you've probably seen, covering things like the AA to the Bank of England and so forth. Quote, There is quite literally something here for everyone, whether they deal with big money or benefit cases. That's the jaunty opinion of one reviewer. And in the wake of all the changes brought by the FPR in 2010, and of course other changes including new proposals on legal aid and the reform of the law relating to child support, we believe it's become an essential package for you as a family law practitioner. Let me just mention one last thing, and that is note that the publishers are kindly offering some tempting value-added concessions on the price, adding a year's subscription to the At an E-Glance plus email alerts which are delivered directly to you as updates on the FPR cases and lots of other information and data for the profession. It really has now entered the digital age, and I'm really grateful to Class Legal and the FLBA for what they've produced. It helps us. I know it helps the judges, so thanks to all concerned. Bye bye.